Now there ain't nothing to it. Go ahead and bring Goliath on. Ain't no giant, I ain't gon' fire on. Catch a fade, you, I'm wrong, I'm gone. Y'all can catch the wave that I am on. I am icon, y'all are wide wrong. Think that I'm a reconcilable, so ain't nothing to it though. This is on me, ain't got much to do with who you know. Keeping it true to form 10 L's into a milli though. But they already knew that those farewell to your opinions. Know that he is something. This is all me, ain't got much to do with who you know. Yeah, keeping it true to form, but they already knew that though. Here we go.
I'ma show you who I am unbreakable. I'ma make you understand. Watch me escape.
Hello, everyone. I am joined by two legends today, Carlos and Shane. How are you guys going?
I'm wonderful. How about you?
I'm beautiful, thank you.
Like always,
Shane?
Brandon. I'm great too, man. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Good to see you. It's been a long time. We are here today for the 7 Years War Top Board league that's been running last year, and now we have the top 7 players of that league fighting it out to get the title. Carlos, do you want to tell us a little bit about the league and what it is?
Yeah, so the 7 Years War is a league that was initially set up by Jelte Kuiper of the Dutch Association, and in association with a bunch of other countries in Europe. They will run one English language round each month and one local language game each month. So you have German language games, you have some Dutch language games, you have French. I believe they've managed Russian, they've got Norwegian. So you really have people from all over Europe playing in it, and it's a very sort of inclusive league in that regard. Like, if you can't speak English, we'll find a way for you to play anyway. So it's been really good for getting a lot of people into the hobby, and I know for a fact that a lot of the people who are now playing in Europe in the burgeoning scene that we have over here came in via 7 Years War, and Jelte and Robert Schuper, who initially put the work in to set that up.
Yeah, awesome. I know Shane and I were talking about it the other day. Do you happen to remember rough numbers of unique players, Shane?
I think it's pushing. I think for some reason the number 106 comes to mind, which is strange.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a lot. It's one of the busier leagues in the world because of that language requirement. It makes it a lot broader and brings in players that might not be comfortable in a game speaking English. So that's why the player base is actually so big. You'll see players just play the Dutch language game or the Polish language game, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely being able to get out there and get as many players involved in it as possible is really good. But yeah, so we have our top 7. I'll pull up their names now. In our first seed, we have Micah, who just loves to win stuff in 2025. Second seed, we have Nicholas Talle. I hear a lot of good things. Michalis, do you want to actually walk us through some of these European players? You'd know more about them than I do.
Sure. So Micah, well, I think everyone knows about Micah. Micah actually played this top board on the same day as the VDC top board, which if you've watched that coverage already, then spoiler alert, she won that one, having already played a top board earlier in the day, as you do, you know. Well, why stop at one top board in a day? Let's just cram as much diplomacy in as possible. Nicolas Taille, big player on the scene a few years ago, won VDL, top player, sort of took a bit of a break from diplomacy for a year and a half, and made a sort of low-key comeback in 7 Years War this year, and then unsurprisingly formed his temporary class as permanent. Here he is on the top board. Robert Schuper, another DBM personality from Dresden in Germany, has made DBNI top boards, has made a lot of big results in the past and is here representing the German hobby. Then we have a newer face of the hobby, Sigurd Esterland, playing from somewhere near Oslo in Norway. Sort of got into it in the past year or so. I've played a couple of games with him. We shared a hotel at EDC this year. Really nice guy. Really excited to see how he does on this board. Yelta, again, former European champion, essentially one of the biggest names in the European hobby, certainly on the organizational side. Does so much for the hobby, and it's really good to see him here. Darcy Morris, some guy who's just in every game these days. I'm beginning to wonder if Darcy's real or if it's like Joe Bloggs. It's just like, we don't know who this guy is, so we'll call them Darcy Morris. That he just seems to be there. He was at the time in Manchester, where he spent 6 months studying. So he does have some reason to be on this European League top board. It's not just diplomacy addiction, although I don't doubt that he'd have played in it anyway. And then Andreas Krone, I believe from Sweden, has also come into the hobby in the past year or so. And I think he used to play maybe 10, 20 years ago, and it has returned. And again, I met him at EDC. He was in the same hotel, and really nice guy. We had a fun alliance at EDC, and I'm looking forward to see how he does too.
He's current Norwegian champion too. The Swedes stealing a trophy and dragging it back to Stockholm.
Wonderful. Yeah, so we've got a lot of different backgrounds here. We've got some newer players. We've got some people coming back to the hobby after a while. Shane, do you have any sort of reads on this board?
Yeah, I want to kind of call out Sigurd here actually, because he feels like a bit of a kindred spirit for me. He came back to the game only in 2025 after I think he had like a 19-year hiatus, which is somewhat similar to my story. What I love about his road to this top board is that he only plays 3 rounds. He gets a 10 dot Italy, a 10 dot France, a 9 dot England, and that's it. He makes the top board. So like, he's the most efficient player for sure in this tournament. He just gets in and gets his results. The other thing I'd like to call out is Nicolas Taillet, who seems to be exclusively a virtual player at this point in time, but his finishes are very consistent, like a really good solid player. And the other thing to note is he's actually soloed as Russia in a VDL game as well. So that I think would certainly kind of help his claims here in this on this board. He seems a very good player, but unfortunately I've never had anything to do with him. And just very briefly on Darcy, for better or worse, Darcy is Canberra's gift to the world, and he's Diplomacy's Globetrotter in 2025. He played in 3 continents, 5 different countries. He finished 2nd in Middlesbrough recently in the Steel Showdown, and he's also notched his first tournament win at Snake Pit, so he'll be hoping to replicate that form and top this one here. But that's about it from me.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. This game will be very good. We have a video for the Paris method, so I'm thinking we get into that to see how everyone goes and where everyone lands. I will pull that up now.
Hello, everyone. Ready for not DBN Countdown, but a secret. We're commandeering this screen for the 7 Years War Paris selection for the 7 Years War top board. So we will start with Andreas. Andreas, would you like to open 7th? 7th, or possibly 7th?
I think I'll take 7th.
Oh, good choice. Good choice. Darcy, would you like to go before or after Andreas?
I will pick before Andreas.
Okay. Yelta, would you like to pick before Darcy, between Darcy and Andreas, or after Andreas? If something's being said, I did not hear it.
No, sorry, I'm just thinking.
You
No,
were a
you
bit
should choose on the
surprised.
Tonchi time.
You were surprised on the what's happened so far, and you need to think about it.
So I mean, until today, I was supposed to be sixth seed, and at sixth seed, I had decided I was going to stay sixth, and then going to see the country. And now I have some choice.
It's okay. Everyone's entitled to their Tatonchi time.
Can someone explain what that reference comes from while we wait for Hjelte?
It's a running
there
joke.
was a top board a while ago in which a player, Matt Tatonchi, took about 5 to 7 minutes to decide where he was going to place himself in the Paris order. So from now on, that's always been referred to as Tatonchi time.
It's a country would select. It's a country would select.
It was a country. I couldn't remember if it was the country or the. Well, maybe Hjelte can start a new one. Maybe Hjelte's can be Kuiper time.
It will be Kuiper time now. For the position, it's Kuiper time.
Well, I mean, we don't get to be on YouTube that often, so of course we need to cherish our screen time. So thank you for that, Hjelte, for sort of helping us there. Or maybe they'll just cut this sequence out. I don't know.
Maybe, who knows?
I'll stay where I am.
You'll go before Darcy. Sigurd.
I'll go before Hjelte, please.
Robert.
I would like to go between Sigurd and Hjelte.
First move, spicy stuff. Nicola.
After Robert.
Second move. So just to confirm, that's between Robert and Hjelte.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Micah.
That was not what I expected.
It's okay. You have Kuiper time.
I'll go after Robert too.
After Robert. Between Robert and Nicola.
Yes.
Okay. Sigurd, select your country.
Yeah, I'll pick France then.
Robert, select your country.
I will play England. You cannot always play Germany.
Now we're back to Tatonchi time. England. Micah, pick your country.
I need to think for a moment. I will be Italy.
Nicola, pick your country.
I don't play that much, so you know, I hesitate between my country of love and my other country of love. I'm going to pick Russia.
Russia. Hjelte.
Germany.
Darcy.
I'll pick Austria.
And Andreas, would you like Turkey, Turkey, or Turkey?
How much time do I have? I'll take Turkey.
As long as you need.
I'll take Turkey.
Wonderful. And there we are. With that, we have concluded our wonderful Paris method, and we will hand it back across.
Wonderful. What are you guys thinking about that? My first thoughts are that is probably the longest Paris method I think I've seen. But yeah, how do you think that all landed?
Well, I was there in the Tatonchi Time top board that originated in when Matt, as first seed, took about 5 minutes to pick France. I'm a bit surprised that Yalta was taking that long in as a fifth seed. It's quite unusual for fifth seeds to drop. It's quite normal to drop to about fourth. Robert, Nicola both doing the sort of thing that I've done many times as well. When you're doing Paris method, there are 4 countries that are generally considered preferable in Paris, and that's France, England, Italy, and Russia. And they go in some sort of order. France usually goes first. The other 3, it's very mixed up. 5th place usually takes Germany, and then 6th place and 7th place choose between Austria and Turkey, and it's sort of quite stratified. So in terms of country selection, that went entirely according to how, if you had to pick an average top board Paris method, this would be it. But the amount of time it took to get there was quite interesting and a little bit different. So yeah, I'm excited to see what's happening. It looks like Sigurd, as soon as he got to the top, he went, "Yep, I'll take France." Like I know that France is favoured, so I will take it. This is why I sort of hate being 4th seed myself, and I'm not a good France player. So if I 4th seed, everyone drops below me, and I'm forced to pick France. Things are quite miserable for me.
I mean, France seems like the no-brainer for Sigurd. He'd be delighted getting the pick of the board, and I think Robert's chosen. Yeah, the comfortable options, right? This is logically how you see it kind of shake out. I liked Nicola's use of country of love for Russia. I wonder what his other country of love is. I'm assuming it was Germany, and that was the decision he was torn over.
Yeah, he was known as a very, very good German player when he was more active.
There you go. And Darcy and Andreas getting what's usually the kind of considered the dregs at the end of the thing. But yeah, kind of shook the country order certainly shook out the way I expected it to. The positioning maybe a little different to what I was expecting.
Do you think these players would have made different decisions if the game went longer than 07?
Yeah, it's an important point that a 1907 game, some countries are a bit stronger than they normally are. Turkey is probably even weaker in this format than it is in a 1910 format, because if you're closed into the box for 3-4 years, you have so little time to recover from it. So in a longer format game, Turkey, you can survive the first few years and come back. I mean, I won VDL doing exactly that as Turkey. I was nowhere after 4 or 5 years, but I had times to recover, whereas in an 07 game, I wouldn't have. So, yeah, Russia may be a bit stronger than normal, but it's not overpoweringly so. And obviously, nobody was that keen to take it until Nicola.
Yeah, this format with the 7 years requires action. Like, that's going to be the interesting thing for countries that are normally that little bit slower. So I look forward to seeing how people deal with that potential challenge.
Yeah, actually, maybe Germany is a little stronger in this format than usual, because in a 1907 game, the amount of times that the East can come to the line is... You don't have a lot of opportunity to do that. If you go to the line as the East in an 07 game, how are you winning the game? Like, you can't lock it up early and then just go and stab later on and turn back. You're wasting maybe 1-2 years going to the line. You lose a lot of momentum in an 07 game. If that's a third of your game spent going to the stalemate line, it's a bit harder to justify that. So maybe the central powers on the line, like Germany and Austria, are a bit stronger than normal.
Yeah, that's a good point. Alrighty. Before we get into this game, there's a couple of big events coming up The biggest being DBNI, which at the time of this recording is actually kicking off in the next day or so. Michaelis, do you want to give us a breakdown of DBNI?
Yes, so DBNI is our flagship tournament here on DBN. Every tournament that people have gone to through the year, they've accrued some DBNI points depending on the size of the tournament. And the top 28 ranked players at the end of the season get invited to play in this DBNI, the invitational event. And it is a very fun tournament. It is a very, very difficult tournament. Arguably the hardest tournament on the calendar, in that you just don't get weak players in these games. Everyone you play with has earned their place in this top 28. And yeah, like, it's not exactly the top 28 in the world. A few players will drop out because they didn't want to play, or they don't like playing virtual, etc. But even the players who are just below them and creep in, you end up with like world champions coming in before. I remember a few years ago, Chris Bram was one of those who got snuck into the top 28. Former world champion, only got to play one game, just rocked up, won it, made the top board with ease. Just that's Chris Brand, and that's the sort of caliber of player you have in these games. So yeah, I will be looking to try and defend my title, which there's only one person who's ever won it twice, and that is the illustrious Peter McNamara. But I'll be trying to match him this year.
Very nice. We look forward to seeing your efforts, as long as we're not on the same board. So, yeah, no, so that's definitely an awesome thing happening this weekend. A lot of excitement, a lot of chatter about it. It'll be really cool to see that come out. For upcoming tournaments, Shane, do you want to have a look at WDR and let us know what's going on there?
Sure, I'll take you through what's happening in Australia, especially as primarily a face-to-face player. Melbourne Open is coming up. That's 13 to 15 March. If you are interested, please get in contact with people. We are everywhere. You can find us. Looking ahead, Canberra's own unique little Hung Parliament Handicap is on 24 to 26 April. That is a tournament where it plays like a completely normal tournament. All of the rankings and scoring and stuff is based on the raw scores for DBNI purposes and everything else. And then what we will do is apply a handicap depending on how experienced the players are, and that's how the trophies get distributed. It's just a nice welcome to tournament diplomacy. You can play with these great players, and you're going to have a chance of going home with something pretty cool if you manage to kind of hang in there. So that'll be a very interesting and fun tournament. Going further ahead in Australia, in August, most likely there'll be the Cane Toad Classic up in Brisbane. We had people coming from overseas last year for that. That was fun. There'll be a second tournament in Melbourne in October, and then there will be the big one to round it out, the Australian Open in November. We do have dates for that one as well, because we're very well organised in Canberra. The Oz Open is 13 to 15 November. That's kind of what's coming up on the face-to-face scene down under.
Yeah, looking internationally, we have Whipping in North America as well. That'll be March 27 to 29. In April, we have the Netherlands Diplomacy Championship. That is April 11th to 12th. And in May, we have the biggest event of the year. We have the World Diplomacy Championships going on in Athens in Greece. That is May 22nd to 24th. And I know they're expecting a lot of numbers for that, but if you're interested in tagging along, definitely look up the details on diplobn.com. And we would love to see you there.
And London Open just announced yesterday, 9 to 10 May in Wandsworth. Get out there and support the UK hobby. It is starting to push and grow, and I'm very excited for that, and I wish I could be there, but unfortunately it's just going to be Athens for me.
I will hopefully be there for that, so you'll get the honor/curse, depending on your opinion, of getting to meet and potentially play with me.
Wonderful. Alrighty. Now back to what we're here for, the 7 Years' War. I will pull up the board in its beginning state, so this video can go for a little bit longer. Here we go. Michaelis, because you are on top of Shane at the moment, do you want to take us through these spring moves?
Sure.
That are coming up. There we go.
dust off the voice and remember how to analyze. It's been a little while. All right, spring 1901. We have a DMZ in Burgundy. My eye is immediately drawn to. Sigurd going to Picardy, Yelta to Ruhr. Potential immediate friendship between the two of them. May not be great news for Robert, but aside from that, nothing too committal in the west. And the east is looking about as bog standard as you get. Rome going to Apulia, ready for a convoy. Russia not opening north, and Andreas doing the more modern Turkish opening with Smyrna to Ankara rather than sliding the army behind Khan.
And that's it. Shane, do you have any takes?
Yeah, one from face to face more than anything else. Moving to Yorkshire rather than Edinburgh, I think is more flexible, but some people interpret that as a pro-Russian move. But to paraphrase Freud, a move to Yorkshire sometimes is just a move to Yorkshire. So we'll see how we go in the fall. Could still go to Norway.
And as someone who is not a fan of the Edinburgh Open at all, I like to see Yorkshire. I think that the problem with Open to Edinburgh is every time you do it, you feel great, and then France opens the Channel one time, and you feel really, really bad.
Yeah, it's pretty costly if it doesn't work.
Wonderful. All right. Shane, if you want to take us through fall.
Sure. We see, I'm going to start with Austria. We see a second bounce in Galicia. There's now no contest over the Black Sea. So that's interesting from Turkey and Russia. You're seeing some cohesion between them. Smyrna slips down to Syria in the old kind of deliberate anti-Lepanto move that people like to run. Russia here will go to 6 and have an empty Black Sea. So Nikolai's nice and cool and happy with the way that works. And France has supported the convoy of Yorkshire into Belgium, which suggests Sigurd and Robert are on the same page. Moving kind of like that kind of keeps, that suggests the FG, and that's kind of it. Micah goes with the convoy rather than moving the fleet. Pretty standard stuff from Austria and Italy, I suppose. That's about it going on there.
Yeah, I mean, England gets to Belgium with France's support, nobody contesting. But I mean, in the words of Siobhan Nolan, English armies go to Belgium to die. And when there's already units in Picardy and Ruhr and Holland, it is very easy for that English army to immediately get blown up next turn. I think you can't really read too much into that at this stage. I don't think it's actually that committal in any direction. This could still be any sort of alliance in the West. Germany doesn't bounce Sweden, sort of normal nowadays, but that isn't overly pro-English. Like usually a bounce in Sweden is a very pro-English move to make, and you would say if you see that, then Germany's playing for an EG, but as of yet, you don't really know. The builds might tell the story, but the builds could also be very non-committal from all three of them. Nicola just gets a straight win here with that DMZ and Black Sea, because Andreas has opened Smyrna to build Fleet Smyrna, almost certainly, and Nicola has not really cost himself anything. Like he can still move to Black Sea next turn if he wants to. In fact, he'll almost certainly get in if he wants to, if Andreas is building the second fleet down in the Med. So this is just a very good start to the game for Nicola Taillet.
Very nice. We have sideline coverage as well, provided by Isaac and Emily. Definitely helps. It gives us a bit more context into some of the negotiations. I will play that video before we reveal the builds.
We have this setup. Spring 1901 of the 7 Years' War top board just finished even. We've got through the first year, and it's been pretty interesting. I don't know about the West, but the East has been dominated by this sort of huge discussion about who's going to commit to anyone. And the answer seems to be nobody is willing to commit to anything. Everybody's playing their cards very close to their chest. Bunch of arranged bounces, Galicia, twice, Black Sea, and there's talk of IRT, there's talk of air, there's talk of every triple alliance under the sun, but it still seems to be that AI versus RT mentality over in the East. What about over in the West?
Yeah, very similar. Nobody in the West really seems to be wanting to commit against each other. There have been very slight talks of an EF committing against Yelta, but no real promises made. Everyone's really playing both sides of the board, and mainly in the West, everyone just seems to be very scared of, of Micah and. Really playing around that. Also, very much talk of going after Russia. Almost the moves that are being discussed are almost Western triple like, but no one really wants to make any sort of promises to each other. So fairly similar.
Yeah. So we'll have to see if people end up being a bit more committed in 1902.
Yeah, definitely.
KG.
Yeah, I mean, this is very typical of a top board. No one wants to be the first to commit, and not too surprised by any of it. I'm interested whether this fear of Micah is real or not. It's sort of a classic rookie top board thing to focus on one person, say they're the big threat, and it rarely helps. It's something that it can basically restrict what you do before you do it, and flexibility is key on a top board, and you see it time and time again. People go in, they look at in this case Micah, in other cases it could be whoever, and go, that person, we all need to contain that person, let's all focus on that person. And the problem is that basically everyone on that top board has earned their place on the top board and knows they've earned their place on the top board. They're all going in thinking they can win, and you might receive that argument and say, look at that person that's a big threat, and you'll nod and you'll smile, but you'll go, I'm here to win. I don't care about other people. I care about me. I care about my dots at the end of this game. And yeah, you go contain that person. Fine. But it's easy to hyperfixate on someone, and so I hope that's not what happens in the West, because if that's what the West is doing and they're looking at Micah and then you see some sort of Western triple, that is, if your name's Robert, that's incredible for you. If your name's not Robert, that is really not very good for your win chances in this game.
I think you make a good point. Like, I think something we see on top boards sometimes is some players will fall into the kind of what I call the happy to be there slot, where they're not actually thinking about what they need to do to maximize their chances. They kind of get stuck in the kind of mind space, the headspace of a standard game where you're just going to try and get a good score and see what happens. Whereas in a top board, you always really need to be thinking about your path and how you can make the best chance you've got at actually winning the game, which is something that's especially important given the length of the game, which is quite short. And something in one of your games I watched recently, Michalis, where you've still got your eye on the path. You're not in a particularly strong position, but you're still trying to maximize your opportunity if it presents itself. And so I think the players that manage to not fall into the trap of just being happy to be there are the ones that are going to be the ones who profit on this game. And it is a different mindset. It really is.
Yeah, balance of power matters on a top board, but it's balance of power. It's not balance of player. Like, the person you should be containing on a top board is the person who is winning that top board. It is not the big name. It is very much, okay, I'm not winning at the moment, but let's say Russia's doing really well. Right, I need to shape the board in a way to contain Russia. I don't care who's playing any of the other countries that does this. I just need to make sure that Russia is being contained right now. And then a year later, Russia might not be the threat anymore. Maybe now it's Germany. Maybe now, and again, you just have to be flexible and not trap yourself into thinking that one certain person is who you should be focusing on. Look at the board, not the player.
Yeah, definitely. And like you were saying earlier, that can really trip up some newer players because they will be focusing on the people themselves, like, whether they may not see that they have to patch up a relationship to deal with a different threat, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a completely natural thing to do. Like, through a lead season, this isn't really how you're thinking most of the time. Lead season, you're looking for a relationship with someone, seeing how that relationship can carry you over the line, and that way you're thinking more in sort of alliance reputation terms. And like, balance of power is not the norm in an average game, and it's a hard way to sort of play the game and adjust yourself too. So it's a learning experience that people go through when they get to these showpiece events.
All right. Predictions for builds. Just going to continue. Everyone's going to continue being cagey. Do you think we'll see anything wild?
I think it'll be boring. I don't know what Sigurd does here. Like a fleet in Marseille upsets Micah. A fleet in Brest potentially upsets Robert unless they've discussed it. 2 armies is restricting. I mean, I've done that recently and people like kind of tore strips off me for it, but it ended up working all right. But yeah, to be Sigurd's builds, I think, are the interesting one out of all of this.
Yeah, I think I don't expect to see a St. Petersburg North Coast build from Nicolas. It doesn't sound like there was any sort of anti-England plot being hatched in the sidelines, so it would be surprising if he did that. And he won't want to trigger an EG or a Western trip or anything like that when you're Russia. So I think he'll just build Army St. Pete. And like you say, I hope we don't see Fleet Marseille, Army Paris. There's a justification if you're building 2 fleets for a Fleet Marseille, but the safe builds for France in this situation is Fleet Brest. So it's the key one.
Or you could wave. It is an option.
These are Europeans and not Australians, so...
Oh, come on, wave, guys. It's
Army
fun.
Paris and wave. Don't have to wave both.
That's probably what I would have done, Army Paris and wave.
No.
All right. All right.
But then I get Belgium, I build 2 next time. It's great.
All right. Let's see what it is. Cool. Yep. That's pretty much everything discussed.
Yeah.
England builds 2 fleets rather than an
yeah.
army. That's a choice that suggests probably you're going to want to do something in the north. Like it's quite easy to build Fleet London Army Edinburgh there and really be flexible in all situations. But the Fleet Eddy does suggest potentially looking at some Russian dots.
Beautiful. All right, Shane, I'll get you to walk us through Spring 02.
Sure. All right. I go straight to England, France, because it's where there's a bit of red lines. Everything else is pretty boring. So there is some coordination there. They're trying to put France into Burgundy, but Yelta cuts the support in Belgium, which means that Yelta is in Burgundy instead. Russia's also involved in the anti-German attempts, putting Robert into Skagerrak. So that's quite interesting. So yeah, that coordination is there. Fleet Brest is going to Mao, which you expect. And I mean, that's flexible. The whole Fleet Marseille, Fleet Brest build thing, they both get to West Med at the same time. So maybe it doesn't too much matter, but it wouldn't surprise me if that just ends up holding. Looking at the East, we have the 3rd Galicia bounce in a row. I don't know if that's just because they've got nothing better to do or it's actually a legit thing, but I guess we'll see. Micah's just doing a shuffle, really, bringing the unit back onto the boot, pushing out to Turanian, and the Turkish moves are exactly what we would think they are. That's the best possible position you can put yourself in there to come out of the box, but Bulgaria's certainly at risk if this switches to an air, which is obviously what everyone always tends to fear in these top boards as Turkey.
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting things here. I mean, in the East, there isn't. The East is no one's decided to do anything yet. But the West, we have commitment, and we have commitment on multiple sides. So Germany has either sniffed out that there's an EF or thought that there was going to be an FG, but it doesn't really look like that. Like Germany's gone to Burgundy and Helgoland. So I think Yelta has worked out that there's an EF against him and has responded accordingly, because you don't generally attack both your neighbors if you think that you're allied with one of them. So it looks like something happened in negotiations. Robert and Sigurd got together and had a good chat. Yelta either worked that out or had a bad chat with one or both of them. And Yelta has seen it coming and has decided to try and react. Nicolas has done a pretty clever thing here. Like, he supported England to Skagerrak. Cool. That looks like he's anti-German. Doesn't have to be anti-German at all. What he has done is made sure that there's not an English unit next to St. Petersburg. He can now very easily just defend Denmark with that Swedish fleet, go for Norway himself. He's got a lot of options, and this is not at all committal from him yet. So Nicolas holds a lot of cards in this sort of EG fight in the north. And in the south, Yelta's position is a lot better than it should be, because Sigurd has not moved Portugal to Spain. And the fact that Sigurd didn't move Portugal to Spain, which is the normal move to do there, means that he can't really go to dislodge Burgundy because Marseille has to be covered, and that is actually quite costly. That's a little tactical error, which in an 07 game is a big tactical error. Like there's not really little tactical errors in a game this short. So Sigurd now loses a turn of being able to safely force Burgundy. He loses him a bit of momentum. That may well 5 years time, game's over. Like that may well end up costing him a lot. So you have to be so on point on tactics in these shorter games. You just you can lose a lot from a small setback.
I love the little slip into Finland as well here. So yeah, you're right. There's nothing on St. Pete, and Nicola's also able to defend Sweden in case Robert and Yelta do get it together and try and have a go at Sweden. It's just nice, efficient, tidy play. Like it's good.
Yeah, really like this from Nicola.
Yeah, me too.
Alrighty. Michalis, walk us through the fall.
So we go through the fall, and the highlights are all Western here. Yelta takes Belgium, just goes all in, and this is possible because France, to take Burgundy, couldn't use Picardy to defend Belgium. They had to use it to force Burgundy whilst covering Marseille. So this is the cost of that move. It's England who pays the price more than Sigurd, but Sigurd has also got a problem because Italy has come west to deal with this EF, which is... I am actually quite astonished by this. I do not understand Micah seeing Turkey put fleets in the Aegean and Eastern Med and going, west is where I need to be. This is a very early move to go west. Like, if this was a normal league game, you say Italy's pitch here is I'm going to be the tip of the spear. This is a top board. You're not tip of any spear. So I don't really understand what the plan is from Micah here. Naples is completely undefended because Turkey now has a walk into it. Like, Italy's retreated to Tunis.
Yeah, it's a weird retreat.
Apulia's walked away. You're like, yeah, the retreat to Tyrrhenian Sea, you at least have a 50-50 on what to cover. Apulia to Venice means that Naples is just not coverable. This is not a good turn for Micah at all. It's not a good turn for Sigurd, but it's not catastrophic because Italy can't really follow up on this. So Marseille can be defended. Yelta does try and work something out with Robert on Sweden, whilst Robert goes to Sweden and Holland at the same time, because why not? That's certainly a move you can make. I think it's not a good move on a top board. I think this is a way to end up with no friends very quickly. This will be good, I think, for Yelta, though, who has sort of faced off the worst of the attack, gets to put another unit down, and one of his attackers is now facing a very, very serious threat in the south, and the other attacker is probably starting a war with Russia that they didn't really want. The East, meanwhile, aside from Turkey moving forward, this is still a lot of nothing. Another bounce in Galicia, no successful capture of Bulgaria, because Micah taps Greece. Okay, that's more significant than I thought. Bulgaria would have fallen, but Micah has stabbed Austria and France at the same time.
Could this potentially be a little bit of fatigue on Micah's part as well? Like this being the second
This is
top
the
board?
first one. This is the earlier one.
All right.
Yeah, play this one first.
All right. Cool. Yeah, Shane.
Hopefully the sidelining tells us a bit about Micah's moves, and also if they've got the retreat, which I find the retreat so wild. As Mikala says, Yelta's position is good, and I expect Yelta is going to have people wanting to talk to them with Sigurd and Robert to actually want to talk to them and try and patch something up and move on. Like I think that's a decent position that they're in, and yeah, I mean Andreas has got to be stoked about being in Ionian. Like he probably wasn't expecting to make it, so that's great as Turkey. You always got to be happy with that. Nicola again, that slip into Finland to defend Sweden is just smart play, and he puts the defensive support in and nothing happens. Just very clever. Moscow's holding, so he's not going to fully commit to the south. He's just playing patiently at this point in time. But it's patient but not passive, I guess. And we get another Galicia bounce. I think that's 4 now. And we'll see how many more we rack up before the end of the game.
It could be that this wasn't a stab on Austria. It could be this was miscommunication between Micah and Darcy, that Darcy was meant to take Bulgaria from Greece.
Took
it from Serbia. And then Micah's move west doesn't look anywhere near as bad if she was expecting to be building out of Greece from it.
And you shut down Fleet Naples, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe this is an error possibly on Darcy's part. because like if the plan was to take Bulgaria, you shouldn't be taking it from Greece there. So yeah, that would actually make quite a bit of sense. So something's gone wrong in Austria-Italy negotiations either way.
Hopefully the sidelines give us some context.
Yeah, let's roll into that, see what Isaac and Emily pulled for us.
Yes. Moves 02. The West has been very tense immediately after 01. There were a great many of small conflicts that arose, especially after spring. Yalta managed to get into Burgundy without telling anyone, and this caused the entire West to almost completely change the entire structure of the West. Sigurd was very caught off guard, which seems to have been the intention. So there have been a great many deals made. Nicola seemed very comfortable during spring, but the West soured on him, and a lot of people are just in the West are just kind of mainly concerned with, okay, how is it going to end up? Is it going to go either EG or my camera fell off. That's fine. A lot of people in the West are very concerned. Is it going to go EF, EG? What's Russia going to do? Basically who gets whose dots has been the main concern. No real talk of any longer term alliances than just dot grabbing.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a similar story in the West, in the East rather, except there's sort of a bigger thing where it's sort of IT are sort of having a bit of an issue because the Turkish are saying they'll move away, and it's not Micah's not as sure that they will. And Darcy has heard last year and this year that one of Turkey or Italy desperately wants to attack him, and he's not sure who. And he keeps sort of trying to say, I'm not sure, until eventually, at the back end of fall, he commits to working with Micah, saying he'll let her move to Greece while he tries to take Bulgaria. And then in the exact next conversation, he agrees to move to Tyrolia and to help the Turks into Ionian. So it'll be very interesting to see which one of those commitments Darcy actually follows through on. He's trying to stay on side with Russia as well. Russia keeps being reluctant to stab the Turks. Italy mentions it. Darcy mentions it in Austria, and it's like he just keeps going. Maybe later, next year, and we'll have to see if it actually happens or not.
That's definitely also been
Turkey's,
the theme in the West, where Russia is refusing to commit faster than the West wants to.
Yeah. Turkey's willing to move on the Italians. They're willing to move on the Austrians. They just need a friend, is how they're sort of reacting. They're saying, I really need one of you to work with me. So I think this will be a turn of action in the East. It's just a question of if it's AT, IT, or AI. And with that, we will hand it back across.
Yes.
There you go.
So
Very
it
nice
turns out
call,
that
Nicola.
Darcy made the deals with both sides and then followed through on neither of them, which is also something you are allowed to do on a top board. I guess ran out of time.
He tried for Bulgaria.
Tried for Bulgaria whilst offering Greece to Micah, so therefore knew Bulgaria wouldn't work.
He's having to quit each way. This is these games where nobody is getting traction can be really challenging. I think, like, clearly there's the EFG situation isn't resolved, the AIT situation isn't resolved, and I mean, Russia is kind of just able to wait.
And this is so nice if you're Nicola. Your neighbors are now ruining their relationships with each other. So, like, Turkey is full on attacked Italy. Italy has fought Austria's on their side. Austria's not followed through on that, but Austria's also not really followed through with Turkey either. So this is just a net win for Nicola, who will probably have his pick of who to work with, while everyone else is just all these little things building up, relationships getting damaged. It looked like there was potential EG against him in Sweden, but England stabbed Germany at the same time, so he's winning there as well. Like this is just relationship-wise, Nicola is the big winner. Position-wise, Yelta's probably had the best year.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, the sideline coverage mentioning as well that I think they said no one really discussed Burgundy, and Yelta just slipped in there, and then that made them all explode. There would have been a lot for them to talk about in the fall over that. So, very well done.
Yeah, and France saying, "I want you out of Burgundy," and then Yelta going, "Okay, cool. I'll just take Belgium." Then is a pretty good gain for Yelta.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so Yelta with the one build. Is it a wave, Michaelis?
Certainly not a wave. It's probably Army Munich. 90% of the time, this is Army Munich. There's an argument that Fleet Keel is the more interesting move here, that it gives you a little bit more to do if you really want to go and take the fight to either one of Russia or England. But I think that you will probably see Munich.
I'd be building Army Munich just because there's no clear cohesion between France and Germany. It's just the safe option. I mean, I love Fleet Keel as something bold, but let's see what it is.
All right.
Something bold.
I like it. Yelta. I like it a lot. We'll see if he can follow through, but this is the I want to win this game. Yeah. I'm going to need 3 fleets, and these are the dots I'm going to... Like, Yelta has a plan.
Yeah,
and at this point, I'm not really convinced anyone other than Yelta, and perhaps Andreas. Andreas is doing sensible, normal things. Actually has a plan on this board. And if you're the guy with a plan, and you can go make it happen, that's probably going to win you the game. So, yeah, good luck.
Excellent. Alrighty, Michaelis, if you want to take us through, take the lead on spring.
All right. So, this is what I kind of suspect. If you're building Fleet Keel, you're going for the FG. And if you're going for the FG, France is probably going to do this. And Yelta gets almost everything he wants. Unfortunately, he does not get into North Sea, but he does get Singer moving up to North Atlantic Ocean, Mid-Atlantic Ocean, going, you know what, Micah? You've got big problems. I'm not that scared of you. And correctly assuming that Italy's going to pull back and gets the guess right in that regard. So Sigurd's game is back on, has moved Picardy to Brest as well, so can convoy into Liverpool. Beautiful. This is probably the end of Robert. I'm afraid it's going to be very, very difficult to come back from this, especially in such a short game. Nicola has also said Moscow North, which means Norway will almost certainly fall. You see RG cooperation as well. Pretty terrible turn for Robert, unfortunately for him. The East, meanwhile, still we see a lot of nothing. So Turkey does not take the guaranteed move to Naples. Probably worried that it might get blown up if they do it. Tries to go for Greece, doesn't get in. I don't think Greece was ever going to get in when Austria's in Albania. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't love this turn for Andreas, and I don't love this turn for Micah, but at least the position's not over. Darcy, the units have come back next to him. Nicola is still not really committing anywhere. The East is doing nothing, and while the East does nothing, Russia is at least going to grow through Norway, but no one else in the East is really going to get anything from this game. And if France and Russia take down England, and Germany might not get anything out of it, then the winner is probably going to come from either France, Germany, or Russia.
I'm just pondering over
another bounce.
Oh, yeah, another glacier bounce.
Yep.
I'm just pondering over Andreas's moves. I mean, he can, if he can work with Darcy, he convoys Naples here. Darcy starts to move west. I mean, I'm not sure what Micah's managed to say to him to not get him to do that, but it's well played. The de-escalation between Sigurd and Micah is very typical of both of them, having played with them a bit. They're just very sensible players that know what's going on. They've read the board and they just immediately go, no, quits. No, this doesn't work for anyone. So that's a positive thing to see for the both of them. But yeah, I'm really intrigued by Andreas's moves and what the rationale is behind them. Hopefully, again, the sideliners talk about Andreas. I don't think they've really mentioned him too much so far.
Yeah, I mean, like it looks here like Darcy and Andreas are at war, so Darcy is not
yeah.
going against Micah. But if Darcy's enemy is Andreas in this game, how much has he lost by that turn of not taking Bulgaria when he should have done from Greece? Italy's no longer in Ionian. Like this is so bad for AI. And like you could argue maybe AR's the play, but AR where Russia's also growing in the north and you're going nowhere is that's a dangerous game to be playing on an 07 board.
Yeah, and it's the old, what's your next dot question? I mean, what's Darcy's next dot here?
Yeah, maybe it's Bulgaria, but
I mean, probably just by process of elimination, but it doesn't look quick. Like,
and it's not also just where's my next dot, it's where's Micah's next dot. Like Micah has rectified her error. I think going west was a straight mistake, but she's a really good player and she's gone, this is bad, and gone back. But Micah is like Micah's not getting a Turkish dot anytime soon. She might not even get Ionian Sea back this year. Like the only dots Micah can take, if they're not French and they're not Turkish, well, there's only one other country that she's really next to, and that's not good news for Darcy either.
Especially when he has to bounce Galicia.
Of course, that's the key move.
You must always bounce Galicia.
Yes. Alrighty. Shane.
Sigurd does the thing. Drops the army behind English lines, gives up channel because of it, but I mean he builds, so it doesn't really matter too much. England has disbands, he gets to build, so that's good for him. Looking at Yelta's had to go for Burgundy again. Wow. Geez, man, these guys just flip-flop. Anyway, maybe they patch it up again because he didn't get in. They also, Yelta also went for Denmark, tried to get into Denmark, didn't get that, didn't get Sweden. Oh, goodness me. I'm not quite sure what he's trying to achieve here. I mean, it's set up to nicely work with France, but obviously it just hasn't worked diplomatically, I suppose. Yeah, geez. Looking at the east, Andreas pushes up into Adriatic. I mean, it helps if you're wanting to fight Darcy, I suppose, but it doesn't seem to help that much. What are you going to do with it? Like tap Albania? Yeah, that's an interesting choice. Then I'd really like to know what's going on in the diplomatic situation with Andreas and Micah here. In some ways, Andreas is almost better off just holding and getting dislodged and getting to choose where he retreats to, right? Like he can retreat to Adriatic in this situation, or Naples wasn't covered. He can go in there and take the dot. It's full, chuck another fleet down and start doing something else. Like, yeah, the continuing fighting with Darcy is really fascinating. But yeah, Micah gets Ionian back, which is good for her.
It's a very curious turn in a number of senses.
Weird.
Yelta, maybe Yelta's reacting to Nicola. Okay, like if Yelta is looking at that east and going, "Oh, they're all doing crap. Nicola's going to win the east, and Nicola's about to take Norway." Yelta could be playing balance of power here. That might be why he's flipped on Russia. I can understand that to some degree.
Do you attack Burgundy when you're doing that though?
I can even look at Burgundy and say this is arranged. And if you squint hard enough, if they don't trust each other, Yelta's going, "Oh, I really don't want you to move to Ruhr, so I'm going to support myself to Burgundy, but you should support hold yourself, and it'll all balance out." There's a world that's what happened here. The East.
I mean, you can just not support Burgundy to hold and retreat to Ruhr later.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to want to be in Ruhr with Germany's in Burgundy. Like, there's a lot of factors. If you squint hard enough, you can make the West make cohesive sense. I cannot look at this East and understand what's going on. Like, Micah's in Tyrolia. Why? If the plan is to attack Darcy, why are you not in Trieste? If the plan is to work with Andreas, I mean, Adriatic should have happened in spring, and then maybe Andreas takes Trieste for a turn or something. But also, Andreas, if you're anti-Darcy, what on earth is Aegean to Ionian? Like, there's no world where that was ever getting in. There's probably no world where it bounces Micah out even. Like, why is Micah not going to be supporting herself to Ionian every day of the week there?
Yeah.
So why not go for Greece, which actually would have got in if Aegean had gone to Greece for Bulgarian support because of Darcy's inefficient order set. Bulgaria, that move doesn't matter. Like, it's support held. Therefore, Bulgaria can support the the unit into Greece, because Greece is where the move's from. So that actually would have got in. Turkey would have taken Greece and blown the fleet up there. Doesn't do it. So I guess it's a good read by Darcy that Turkey's not going to do that. But I don't know. Nikola slides to Ukraine, probably expecting to be building from Norway, but isn't building from Norway. So a whole lot of nothing up there. This is bad for everyone except Sigurd, I think. So good job, Sigurd.
The story is Andreas just passing up builds this year too in an 07 game. Like he's passed up Naples, he's passed up Greece. Like maybe it's just a bit of inexperience in this sort of environment. Perhaps I don't quite know. Again, I don't know the player, so.
But it's not just him that's done that as well. Like Micah, my question is still, where's Micah's next dot? And she's back in Ionian. I still don't know where her next dot is. Like,
I mean, again, you just play logical, and it just has to be Trieste, right? But
if that's the plan, why is it not already Trieste? Though?
Yeah,
like,
no, totally.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, no, totally. This is wild.
Unless Micah was worried that Darcy would do something with Vienna and walk to Trieste, so she wanted to get positioned to guarantee it next turn or something.
It's incredible. If that's the case, it's incredibly clever potentially from Nikolai if he's told Micah, Darcy doesn't want to bounce to Lycia anymore. And Micah's gone, he must be covering Trieste. So it could be that Nikola's done a very sneaky, very clever play, which is exactly the sort of thing I'd expect of Nikola Taye. I played top boards with him before, and everyone wanting Nikola to commit and him not doing it reminds me a lot of playing top boards with Nikola, especially the one that he won as France and VDL, where we basically everyone would spend the whole game saying, you need to go after England, you need to go after Italy, you need to go after someone, and he'd go, I need one more unit to do it. I always need one more unit. And in the end, he got that one more unit, and that was the one more unit that won him the game. So
his game is the nice mix of patient but not passive right now.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Well, we've got our sideline coverage again. Let's see what they have to say.
Yes. So, back with 1903, and the East has sort of gone a little bit crazy. That last turn, everyone sort of committed against different people. Darcy committed against Turkey. Turkey committed against Italy. Russia sort of seems to still be playing their cards very close to their chest and isn't really committing to anyone in the south. So we come into the spring with Turkey very frustrated with the Austrians, saying they're planning to turn around against them. They don't want them anymore. Darcy and Austria are still absolutely desperate to try and get an AR off the ground to try and take Bulgaria from Turkey, to just try and get that little bit of progress from some Russian help. Darcy said in his conversations with Mikey, he was up front that he was going to work with Turkey previously, but that the thing that broke him was that they wanted to move to Eastern Med rather than Aegean into Ionian. And that's the big reason. And then Austria told Turkey that they're defending against Russia, they're defending against Micah, so they can't move in on Micah right now because Russia's a big problem, which is quite convenient. Then in the fall, we had a bit of an AT entanglement still, with a little bit of suggestion that they could move Aegean away so they could work together. But Turkey seemed quite set on keeping stuff around Greece. The Italy-France war is basically over so long as there's no fleet in Marseille. AI were chatting for a bit, and they seemed quite frustrated by Russia's refusal to commit to anything. They wanted Russia to sort of do something. Micah was absolutely desperate for a build. She was asking about Russia. She was asking about Turkey. But she was asking about Trieste. She was asking about Greece. But Darcy really, really didn't want to give it yet. And Turkey was trying to pitch an IRT with like an Adriatic Trieste move, which theoretically was agreed to. But at the same time, the AR finally agreed to take Bulgaria. So it will be very interesting to see what comes of that. As for the West?
You're right, yeah. In the West, it seems that the sort of final alliance to come out of the early game has come about. Yelta has been successful in throwing off the imminent EF, and There's now an FG storming across. Consensus seems to be in the West among every player, interestingly enough, that Russia should be prevented from winning. Robert is unfortunately on the losing end of this West, has guessed wrong, so is going to lose Liverpool now to the convoy even from France. So it's going to be interesting to see if Yalta is going to be able to prevent Sigurd from completely taking over in England and just snowballing out of control. But those two seem very in line. The FG conversations have gone very smoothly and very efficiently in this year. They don't get, Yalta doesn't get Sweden this year, but I'm sure he has plans for it. Although interestingly enough, there was an agreement here to, to support, for Yalta to support himself to Burgundy and France to prevent it, Sigurd to prevent it, in order to verify this trust. So they're still kind of testing the limits here. But yeah, another team has just been everyone in the West, except Sigurd seems to be kind of annoyed by Nicola not committing to anything, playing it very slow, which seems to be coming back to bite him right now.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's nice to know that I'm not completely washed on analysis, I guess. Yeah, Burgundy was agreed. That's the key takeaway there.
Yeah, good call.
FG is still on.
And everyone's mad at Russia, but no one's really doing anything about it.
So that's also a very familiar position I've been with in games with Nicola on a top board. It's like, oh, he's not committing. I'm annoyed with him. Why don't you do something about it? Somebody else's job.
Yeah, this Discord is potentially not great in the East for them stopping him.
We heard there Darcy sort of spelling out why he chose not to work with Turkey. Like Turkey was taking Ionian from East to Med rather than Aegean. All right, fair enough. That makes complete sense why you want Turkey to do that. I won't quibble with that. But if that's the case, then why didn't you do what the agreement with Michael was and take Bulgaria from Greece? And instead didn't do that properly. Michael got kicked back anyway. Now Turkey's in Aegean and Ionian anyway. Like if this is what you wanted to avoid, you did an order set which made it happen. And I don't know. From Darcy's perspective, if Darcy won't unlock the East, then the East is going to unlock Darcy.
It goes back to your point about being flexible on these boards, right? And having that inflexibility and that being dogmatic about which unit goes into Ionian is not helping right now. Yeah. Like to me, it seems like the natural deal is for him to try and work with Turkey, given Turkey has those fleets out there. But yeah, I don't know. Get Turkey a build, throw down fleet anchor, start to make Russia's life difficult if you guys are annoyed at Russia.
I think the problem for Darcy now is that if I look at this board, the more I look at the East, I think it actually makes sense for all of them to attack Darcy. I think that's almost the correct move for all three neighbours now.
Yeah, if you've got a board where the four people can't decide to do something and then everyone is in that position, it just becomes the logical choice to just kill Darcy at this point in time.
Yeah. You're in the middle and you're not helping unlock it. Yeah. He had his chance to unlock it in Turkey's favour. He had his chance to unlock it in Italy's favour. He didn't do either. And now I think that all of them unlock through him, even if they can't agree on what happens next.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, what are your builds here? He can lose Greece, he can lose Trieste, he can lose a ton of position up top.
For this season, though, we've got Sigurd with one build and Robert with one disband. What's your read on those, Shane?
I mean, you have to. I guess you've probably got to go Fleet Breast, right? Depending on what Robert does, you just got to protect it. As for the English pool, I mean, it's probably Skagerrak, right? Out of what's left,
Robert has to make a decision. Right, like this is Robert's. He can't win anymore. Like that chance is gone. You're never undoing this. So now it's who am I most annoyed at? And that's entirely what the rest of this game is going to be for Robert. And is he annoyed at Sigurd for the stab? If so, he'd be keeping English Channel, he'd be pulling Skagerrak or Norway, probably Skagerrak, as you say. But and it would go and he'll try and tighten up and defend. But he did try and do something anti-Nicola that turn, and he didn't send everything back west immediately after Sigurd's stab. So it's not impossible that Robert's actually okay with Sigurd, in which case you could pull English Channel quite easily and say, I'll be a Janissary, try and give me a survival and let me survive in Scandinavia. It's quite a plausible route for him to go down here as well. And that's really Sigurd's biggest path to win, is if he can get Robert to do that. So hopefully Sigurd's been putting the work in, because if you can get Robert to try and survive this game in Scandinavia as France here, your chances of winning are very, very high.
Yeah, if you're Sigurd and you can eat the other 2 English dots and then have Robert up in Scandinavia kind of keeping a lid on Yelta, maybe that's how you kind of snatch the win.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really nice path. All right. Let's see. Here we go.
Makes sense. I guess cover Edinburgh, cover London, pull back to Norwegian. Yeah, I mean, it's
not surprising. I think it definitely can still win. It's just much harder, right?
Yeah, that's right.
The easy path is gone. Now you have to earn it.
Yep.
All right. Shane.
Cool.
Spring.
Yeah, Robert does the thing. About the only sensible defense he can pull, I suppose. He knows he's not keeping Channel, so he just opts for Wales instead to start playing around in Liverpool, London, just to make Sigurd guess, slow the game down, make his life difficult. It's clearly the choice he's made. He gets dislodged in North Sea by Yelta, which is interesting, but he goes back to Yorkshire, and it is just an absolute series of guesses. Nicola takes Norway, and Sigurd pulls the unit, so he's clearly not anti-Nicola. So that's certainly very interesting as well. Nicola's also now in Galicia. His position's lovely. It's really, really nice. It's interesting that he takes Norway with the army rather than the fleet. I don't know if that's agreed or he's just really worried about retaining Sweden. Maybe that's what it is, because Yelta's got Denmark and Baltic, and also appears to have been a little unpredictable as far as we've been able to see. Looking in the east, we have a brace in Trieste. That would be there's a cut actually as well, is there? Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see if that was arranged or not. But Micah's going for that dot that she probably should have gone for last year. They coordinate finally putting Darcy into the Aegean, so it looks like we potentially have an AT, an AI, who knows. And Turkey manages to slip into Greece, so it's still chaotic. It's still chaotic in the east, except for those pink units there, which are just nice and methodical and ordered, and now in Galicia and able to threaten Budapest if they want to, drop down to Black Sea, push into Silesia if thinks Yelta's a threat. That's the story right now, is this chaotic Austria, Italy, Turkey, and that it's not really doing anything to stop this slow accumulation of position and pressure that Russia's got. This is there's a few years left. People need to actually coordinate this now, because you can see this position potentially exploding if it's played right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is any sort of AI. I think Micah has tried to slip Darcy a fake one, like, oh yeah, I'll support you to Aegean, while at the same time going for dots. I think this is a stab for Trieste. I can't read that any other way. The amount of units that move there. I think this is it. The East has broken. It's broken against Darcy, but Micah has tried to play a sort of double game here, while also slowing Turkey down whilst taking Austrian dots, which is an incredibly pro-Russian thing to do. I think Micah's playing for the Winterine here, which that's dangerous. Russia's got the north. Robert has pulled Norway, as you said. He's not going to do anything against Nicola for the rest of this game. Sigurd is going to be slowly slogging to take those last couple of English dots. Yelta's in North Sea from Denmark for reasons. I don't really like that either. I think Yelta should have looked at the east and gone, this is going to break, and it's going to break favorably for Russia. I probably want to stay in Baltic. I want to be containing Russia. So this is an incredible turn for Nicola Taye to get Yelta to take north from Denmark and leave Baltic. Yelta has gone and decided that Sigurd's more of a problem that he needs to contain than Nicola, and I don't think that's the correct read at this stage.
No, I don't either.
We're sort of at a halfway point potentially for this game. Who do you guys have your eyes on as favourites? Which position would you like to be in going forward from here?
I think we've made it clear we'd like the Russian pieces, both of us.
Yeah, if it's not, well, yeah, if it's not going to be Russia, because this position is looking very good. Where
Sigurd or Yelta, I don't want to be in that East, man. That is a mess. I really don't want to have to deal with that. That's just hurting cats at this point in time.
I think I like Sigurd a lot more than I like Yelta, simply because if the Russian position gets really good, who's going to have to react? Yelta. Yelta is going to have to react. And if Yelta's going to have to react, and Sigurd doesn't really have to react, then Sigurd's going to have more like flexibility on what to do. I think Yelta, by taking his foot off of Nicola's neck now, is basically going to have to go back and put it with way more force later. That's going to take way more units to do so. And so I think Yelta is going to lose his flexibility in this game, whereas Sigurd will probably retain some strategic independence and initiative that he can take somewhere. As you say, the East it's sort of horrible. Like Andreas's position, if he could make some sort of deal with Micah, wouldn't be that bad, but it just doesn't seem to be any sort of plan to do that between them. And yeah, like the Adriatic is a horrendous unit if you want to AT, but it's a top board. You're great players. You've got to this top board. You are good enough to come up with a way to make that fixable, and they haven't done it.
Yeah, I mean, Sigurd's got the diplomatic work to do here, right? Ideally, he's eating all of England. Germany's having to absorb the pressure from the Russians, and maybe, you know, he's playing the nice guy in the nice game and helping Yelta out. And, you know, if he's got the opportunity to snatch the win at the end, he does. But it's certainly more challenging than the Russian spot right now, where apparently everyone hates him but doesn't want to do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, Sigurd can quite easily give Norway to Yelta here and say,
yeah, he walks Norwegian next turn.
Russia.
Yeah, he can walk Norwegian next turn, and they can start putting pressure on Norway and working their way into Scandinavia. It's not irredeemable, but it's getting challenging.
Sigurd needs Yelta to do something about Nicola, and if the cost of that is, hey, support me to London, do it. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Yelta is going to send all his units west, this game's already over in Nicola's favour. So you've got to trust that Yelta is a good enough player to recognise the threat of Nicola, that he won't do that with that build.
Yeah.
I think one thing to remember too, because quite often, like doing this analysis and stuff, we talk about the West, we talk about the East, but these are 7 people that are playing on a board together. And, you know, like, is the West saying anything to the East? You know, talking to Italy, Austria, Turkey, trying to get them to sort something out or sway something there? Like, because Yelta and Sigurd wouldn't, you know, they're not happy with what's going on in the East, because they'd like some sort of coordination to be able to put a bit of pressure on Nicola so they don't have to deal with that. But
yeah, that's a great point. It's what the best players do. Like, yeah, you're in your theatre, you're making your moves, but you've got to try and shape the rest of the board in your favour to get the outcome you want. And right now, the East is entirely Russia. That's not good for Sigurd, and it's not good for Yelta. They either misread something or they haven't put the work in yet to make that not the case. But if I'm Sigurd or Yelta, I'm screaming basically at Micah and Andreas to come up with a way to work together. Like, an IT solves this. Like, you can't save Darcy. Darcy's a goner, and you have to accept that. Like, however you're shaping the board, you have to do it in a way that it's in the player's interest that you're shaping it for. You're not going to be able to sell either Micah or Andreas on working with Darcy, because that's not how they win this game. Working with Darcy is not a winning path for them. So you have to give them a winning path that involves countering the threat of Nicola, and the way to do that is with each other.
Yeah, I mean, they can all be boring and prop up Darcy defensively and make Nicola's life difficult, but ultimately Nicola is still the best chance of winning the game, even if they do that. But that also rules out Andreas and Micah ever having a chance to win the game. They need to basically dismember Darcy and try and push in against Nicola and try and keep his number down.
Yeah, like, if you're Sigurd or Yelta and your pitch to either Micah or Andreas is defend Darcy, it's a crap pitch. Like, that's not how they can win the game. So your pitch is terrible, and they're not going to listen.
Yeah, there's no incentive for them to actually do it. You're right, it's a dreadful pitch.
Alrighty, Fall, Michalis, take the lead.
All right. So what we see here is RT cooperation on Serbia. So Andreas is getting that 5th dot finally, gets a build in Serbia. Micah does try and cut some sort of deal with Darcy, so she's still definitely anti-Andreas because she puts Darcy back into Greece. Gets Trieste at the same time. Not a terrible turn. Andreas is now in Albania, which is slightly less threatening to Micah. There's still hope for them in the East. Things are going the way that they need to if they're going to do anything about Nicola, but the question is still a massive if. The nice thing is Andreas can only build an Ankara, so that could create some tension there. In the West, meanwhile, there is a support from France to put Germany into a dot. They do it for Edinburgh instead. Cool, that's also very good, makes sense. Yelta is probably regretting leaving Baltic in the first place, tries to go back in, is bounced out by Nicola, who sees that coming from a mile off. Good play. Yeah, this is going sort of how it should. Not really any big surprises on this board. Like Robert's getting carved up, FG are working together and getting in a better position, and the East is going and seeing Darcy get carved up as well.
Lots of pretty moves to try and get into Norway. Robert seems to think there's going to be a convoy from Holland or Belgium. Nicola thinks he might be getting convoyed, and then we get the bog standard simple fleet goes in. At least Yelta knew what was going on and did the right thing. Yeah, I mean, Sigurd getting into Norwegian is what needs to be done. Darcy kind of getting chopped up is unfortunately what needs to be done now. I wonder how much Andreas's move here with working with Russia is born out of frustration at this point in time. That's potentially quite telling, depending on how it shakes out. Like, is he so upset with Micah and Darcy at this point that he's fine with Nicola winning? Would be my thing to kind of watch out for there.
Yeah, and he shouldn't be. Like, 100%. If Russia's offering you support to Serbia, you take it regardless.
Take it,
yeah. Plan. It's like that's just
totally
good for you. You're like, yes, do it. But yeah, like this game will come down to whether I and T can cooperate here or not.
Yeah.
FG are doing enough in the north. Like Nicola's position isn't dominant yet. Nicola's only going to be on 7 and like can go down quite quickly. But if the East stays in a position where IT can never work with each other and A is going down, then Nicola will always be in the best position at the East.
Yeah, the move to Munich at the end, there's still there's this residual distrust in the FG. Like, I mean, sure, it's basically the same as a whole, but it's also not going to Silesia.
Yeah, and Yelta also has a decision on a build here because you're not in Baltic Sea, so maybe you have to build a 4th fleet, but a 4th fleet is horrible.
Dreadful.
You really want another army. But if you're really going to commit to the FG, that's Army Berlin, go after Warsaw, and then Sigurd. How scared are you of Sigurd? Like, this feels like a point where Sigurd should have left Burgundy and DMZ'd it to let Yelta do that, and you're not really letting Yelta do that by staying there.
No, totally. And like, if you are building Army Berlin, Munich should probably be in Silesia now. Like, North Sea is pretty safe now. You could slip Holland into Ruhr if you really wanted. Orchestrate a bounce in Burgundy with Marseille. So Sigurd goes back to Paris, bounce Burgundy, let it alone. Holland Kiel, build Army Munich. Like, you can do stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's still, there's no pressure on Nicola. And sometimes in these games, when it's really cagey, you just want, and I say this to some people sometimes, you just want people to lean on people. You might not be fighting them, but you're leaning on them and you're making their life just that little bit difficult with that little bit of pressure, forcing them to commit units to doing things that they would rather not do. So, if you're in Silesia now and say Nicola's not building, it's like, okay, well, we need to bounce Warsaw, don't we? So, yeah, it's just, he's just not getting that pressure on him at the minute, which is, I mean, it's a lot.
And but you can understand Yelta. If Yelta commits too hard against Nicola, Sigurd can walk into everything behind. Like, Yelta's in a tough position there. But
yeah,
Yelta created some of this himself by leaving Baltic Sea, because before you could pressurize Nicola without having to commit your armies, which meant that your armies can stay not giving Sigurd a really easy time whilst you're slowing Nicola down. And the fact that the fleets can't do it is why Yelta, as I said before, now Yelta will have to commit, like, to put the foot back on Nicola's neck. The foot has to be much stronger than it was before. And yeah, it's just everything's a bit harder because of that departure from Baltic Sea, and Sigurd's not giving him the room to do it by leaving Burgundy. And if Yelta doesn't go east because of that, then there's great news for Nicola again. So,
really, and in these boards,
really good year for Nicola.
These tiny moves matter so much.
Yeah,
so little time. What you're doing with your pieces matters so much. Yeah.
I mean, I think Darcy's game ended with that turn where he didn't take Bulgaria properly or commit either way. He lost his opportunity, and now he's reaping the reward of that.
Yeah.
That's it. A few adjustments on the board now. Before we go into them, though, we have our sideline. Let's watch that. Get a bit more of that context.
All right. So let's see. 1904.
1904.
Yes. Well, surprisingly, the board has become, in the West at least, or not completely surprisingly, but the board has become very calm. It's been almost exclusively the FG trying to decide, okay, what are we going to do with England? What are we going to do with Russia? Mainly England for now. Russia's been very passive. There's been a lot of Yelta and Sigurd talking about specifics in terms of, okay, how can we get each other to not want to or have to stab to grow? And when is Sigurd going to commit against Italy? When is Yelta going to commit against Russia? Because that seems to be the consensus. They seem to be very much on the same page about, okay, we want to move against the East. We want to move to the other side of the board, and we want to make sure that at least one of us two tops, the other one also stays near, even the shared top, something like that. That's been very much the consensus.
Yeah, the East has been a little bit of a different story. Things have simplified, but not because we've got an alliance. It sort of seems like everyone sort of piled in on Darcy, but and this has led to basically a lot of frustration. Darcy in spring basically went in. Micah moved up on him last year in Italy, sort of around Trieste, around Tyrolia, Venice. So he went to Turkey at the beginning of the turn and basically just said, listen, I'm really frustrated with these other two. And so, like, I'm happy to work with you. And sort of, they sort of talk around each other for a bit. But Andreas says, well, you said you'd do things last year and then you didn't do. So I'm not sure how well we can do that. And Darcy says, okay. I'll get into Trieste here. That'll be fine. Then we can work together. At the end of the spring turn, as I'm sure you already saw, Darcy did not get into Trieste. So at that point, Darcy went, okay, everyone's been messing around with me. And Darcy's sort of in this weirdly strong position from a diplomatic perspective, because Darcy now gets to be the one who decides, okay, who am I going to give a dot to? Because he's losing something somewhere. So he goes to Micah and he basically says, you can take Trieste. We'll just go back to AI versus RT because we've been trying to get Russia to move for like 7 years and they haven't moved at all on Turkey at any point. It's not going to happen. So we're just going to try and move back to this AI relationship where you get Trieste and then I just sort of become a bit of a wall to slow down the RT. And we maybe get something out of Turkey with the fleets.
Yeah, interesting. In the West, actually, a sort of similar thing has happened with Robert in that he's losing, but tried to kind of do the similar thing to Darcy, getting that power back in deciding, okay, who gets to rule. But really interesting, actually, the moves have just gone through. And in the fall, Yelta didn't take either of the offers from Russia or England to, say, turn on France. He's instead put his fleet in Edinburgh, and is basically, well, has been saying to France, okay, listen, I want to put a fleet in there, I want to end it, I want to go after Russia, you go after Italy, and we roll from here.
Yeah, so very interesting. We'll have to see if the East can resolve fast enough to catch up on the West.
Yeah, looking difficult.
Yeah.
Just an analysis.
That's it. It's like you both know what you're talking about.
I mean, Darcy getting frustrated with everyone around him. I think it makes sense to some degree. I do think, some of it's self-inflicted, but this is what happens on top board. And I think Darcy recognised that things were going to go against him. So what can I do? Can I try and kingmate in someone's? And he's given up Trieste. Unfortunately for him, he's also lost Serbia because he didn't guess right elsewhere. So instead of giving up 1 dot, he's lost 2 anyway. But Robert has tried to go anti-Sigurd. It's not really worked for him either. This is problem on a quick top board is even when you're trying to punish someone, you might not be able to punish them very well. So say la vie for them, I guess. It's not been the greatest of games, and it probably won't last that much longer. I don't know. I think this is... They say, can the East catch up with the West? But I think Nittla is just as much a part of the West as Sigurd and Yelta at this point. So
definitely, yeah.
There's definitely... You can see paths to win for Sigurd, Yelta, and Nittla.
Yep.
It's really hard to see Micah or Andreas' paths to win here. Really hard. They've got 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, Micah needs to get a whole bunch of stuff in Austria and Greece, and hope Sigurd's distracted and starts smashing into Iberia or push into Turkey. There's just time is the thing now, right?
Yeah.
So like
Micah,
Micah
she's
and
2 dots behind. It's
Micah and Andreas have builds. What would they build to give them the best shot of doing that?
I mean, what Fleet Naples for her, I guess, or Fleet Rome. Probably has to be another boat.
Oh, does it?
What do you want to do? Put an army and convoy it somewhere, or keep
Micah's
slipping up into
path-
Petrolia?
Like, if you're going to win this game as Micah now, is it not through Austrian dots? Is it not through taking all of them? Do you not want more armies to actually send north?
True, but maybe she thinks she can get them diplomatically rather than militarily, given Darcy seems to be more upset with Turkey than anything else.
I think there's an argument for Army Naples that you can convoy to Albania or something. Then you could say, Turkey, you take Greece from Albania. I'll convoy to Albania. We can try and even this out, and you can create a situation where that is potentially workable. I just think that Micah's dots to win this game. Yeah, maybe you can work something out with Nittla. Maybe you can get Greece. Maybe you can even get Serbia. But it's an 07 game. You're not getting Constantinople and Smyrna. And if you are, it's because Russia's taken so much more that it's irrelevant. That's the only way the Turkish home dots fall at this point. So if you're going to win, I think you need the Austrian dots, and that needs armies, not fleets.
Darcy's disband is an interesting one too, actually. What he does, what he chooses to pull.
Yeah,
I think that decides a lot of what happens next in the East.
And I think Andreas, Anchor is a horrible place to be building, but you probably have to build a fleet there.
What can you do? I don't like another boat for Yelta either, but yeah. Guess we'll see what they 3 down. Russia makes sense.
Fleet Rome.
What? Tuscany goal? That's about the only difference between Rome and Naples. But even then, Trini and Seagull lock goal. It's like, yeah.
I mean,
if I'm building a fleet, it's probably Naples, but
yeah, I mean, like there's a semi-coherent plan of going wested and IT, and I can just about see it. But the one thing that you want to be doing if you're going west is not tipping France off that you're coming west. And so, why are you building Fleet Rome? Even if the plan is to go west, I just don't.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, maybe Marseille, Spain are dots that can help you win this game if you can take a couple in these. Maybe that is a path, but
I mean, you're also running up the flag here to for Sigurd to pivot, right? Sigurd's in a decent position to pivot right now.
Yeah.
Spain, South Coast to guarantee the move rather than West Med, and then pull into Mal.
Yeah, England's dead. Mal will always be able to go to Spain here, which means that any move
leave Norwegian
west
up there and
needs
help
a
you.
lot of units, and the only way you're going to get Marseille then is if Germany's cutting Burgundy, and that means Germany's probably not containing Russia, and that means Russia's probably winning. So I don't know.
And Darcy has done the anti-Turkish disband too. He's pulled Vienna, let Italy and Russia fight over the scraps.
I mean, that's
which makes life difficult for Andreas. He can't rotate all his units and put something on black, and so Nicola's got the walk in whenever he wants it. It's shaping up.
Yeah, Andreas's position is horrible here.
It's dreadful. Yeah,
like he needs to cut a deal with Micah, and maybe this fleet is the sign that that's happening. But I just think if you're cutting a deal in 90 as Micah, I'd still rather be building armies and sending them into Austria. Like Micah doesn't actually want an equal partnership with Andreas. She wants an IT where she's in a way better position than Andreas.
Yeah.
And the sending units west is how you do an IT in a 1910 game where you're all friends and you're not planning to stab each other. Let's run the alliance. I know how to run an IT. I can tell you how to run an IT, and it is Italy going west, but not top board. Not in this. You've got 3 years left. That ain't how you run this IT. I don't think.
Alrighty. Carlos, take the lead for spring.
And now Micah reaps the reward of Fleet Rome, is that Sigurd assumes she's going west and counters actively, and she doesn't really go west, so she's just dragged France into the Med. Oh dear. Elsewhere,
has almost coordinated Yelta and Sigurd as well. It's just made them both start moving.
What's she doing? Tunis.
Yeah, so she's done nothing with Tunis. So she's not even arranged to bounce in Western Med. She's tried to basically say Fleet Rome isn't hostile when Sigurd's not believed her, and relationships broken down there. And
that's why you put Naples down. It just does the same thing and looks nice anyway.
Yeah. Like you've got 2.5 more years. You just don't do this. She does try to make the IT. I think that Ionian is a support of Albania into Greece, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like that's what Ionian is doing there. So she is trying to make the IT work, but she's trying to do it in a way where she's upset France but not gone west. And France is so upset they've also pulled Norwegian back. And that's a huge problem because that wasn't needed. Like you don't, even if you're at war with France, with Italy, you don't need that third fleet to go back. If anything, you want that third fleet there to convince Germany that going anti-Russia is viable. By not doing that, this is a real problem for Sigurd. This is another great turn for Nikola. Like he gets into Budapest, cool, wonderful. It's very unlikely he's being kicked out given the mess that's around him. And Yelta's gone south with Munich. And Yelta's done it in a way where he still doesn't really trust Sigurd. So he's still in Belgium and Ruhr. So Yelta is not really lined up to go that anti-Russian. Yeah, maybe Eddie can go and backfill Norwegian and there's something you can do there, but it's all a bit problematic and nothing's really worked for anyone. Sigurd has tapped Trieste to help Nikola take Budapest. So yeah, Sigurd is not Sigurd. Andreas has done that. So Andreas is fully RT here. Doesn't believe Micah, doesn't trust Micah. Whatever's going on, Andreas is RT, and that's
great for Nikola.
Bad for everyone who's not Nikola.
Like this is another good example. I was talking about people just kind of leaning on each other and putting pressure on each other, right? And it's all in the wrong direction. Like Yelta and Sigurd are leaning on each other and putting pressure on each other. That's just not necessary at this point in time. Burgundy's still there. There's a unit in Ruhr. There's a unit in Belgium. I mean, God, there's Tyrolia, which potentially, if Yelta thinks his path is to blitz through France, is a way to take in Piedmont. I think Sigurd pulling out a Norwegian is dreadful. As you said before, it's unnecessary. But yeah, I think the pitch to Germany is, hey, let's get you into Norway. Like, or let's do something different. Let's get me into Barents later on. Like, yeah, I feel like this set is just all wrong if the objective is to actually stop the leader.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game of mechanisms. Like, at the moment, Nicola's position is not dominant. But let's say that Nicola's position after this turn, the East stays how it looks like it's going, and therefore IT are never working together. Nicola's position becomes dominant. What's the mechanism to contain Nikola in that situation? You're not going to be up in Barents. You're not going to be doing anything on Scandinavia. Nothing is coming in the East. There is no unit that isn't Russian that can go to Black Sea. Austria is dying and Turkey and Italy are fighting. Like there is nothing in the South that will ever contain Russia unless something drastically changes. And it pretty much has to be now. So assuming that doesn't happen, the West has to think, right, well, if he can't be contained in the South, we have to contain him in the North. And the problem is that half of the units that you need to do that have moved in the other direction entirely. Maybe the German fleet, England's left Yorkshire, so Eddie can be left. Eddie can go to Norwegian, so you can solve that. But if Germany is doing the fleet in Norwegian Sea, then how's Germany going to be in Baltic as well? Doesn't work. So there's not enough fleets. Germany's not getting another build to put another fleet down unless they can somehow work something out where they get Vienna. Possible. Maybe you can get Italy to support Germany to Vienna. That's not out of the realm of possibility here, but I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I just see it going south of everything means that the only dot Sigurd's going to be able to take for the rest of this game is Tunis and maybe London. And I don't see a world where 8 dots wins you this game ever.
No, and Nicola's in a nice position too. He has an ally, and the ally is much smaller than him. Like it's great. He can take black whenever he wants. It looks great for him at this point.
Yeah, like I'm looking at
Sigurd's position is kind of. I don't think Sigurd can win from here. Yelta can potentially still win from here, but it needs everything to go right.
Yeah, Yelta's now into I need to thread the needle mode, and I've played that on top boards, and I've played both sides of it. I've managed to thread a needle successfully. It doesn't happen very often. I failed to thread that needle successfully a lot more often. This VDC this year. Threading the needle is hard. You don't want threading the needle. Threading the needle is not plan A. Threading the needle is plan Z for how I might be able to clutch a win from the jaws of defeat.
All right. Shane, if you want to walk us through 4.
Okay, my eyes are drawn to the big black arrows, like always. Sigurd opts for North Atlantic, North Africa, which he forces. Doesn't try and defend Gulf of Leon. Oh my goodness. Micah puts Yelta into Piedmont, so that's not great for Sigurd. Sigurd's really abandoned the north now, just backfilling Mao as well. Yelta's in the Channel now. Like this is just all over the shop. Yelta's out of Berlin, back into Munich, taking Burgundy. Yelta sees that his path is quick, straight through France, get the dots. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know that it happens because Nicola is just able to take such an advantage of what's going on in the east, right? Oh yeah, and Russia's gone into black now, picks up a build from Budapest, throw down an army in Sevastopol, can walk to Armenia, eats Turkish dots. Yeah, look, I think Yelta's taken shot, but without enough pressure on Nicola and creating guesses and maybe nicking dots, it's becoming really, really, really challenging. Sigurd's super stretched here now too. Obviously, he'll probably have to pitch de-escalation with Micah, but the question is, Micah's there now. Where are her dots? That's, please support me into Marseille, Yelta, or I'll put you into Marseille if I want you to win, Yelta, or I'll have a shot at Spain. So we're getting right down to the dot grabby part of the game, and the positioning isn't great for anybody. People are... there's this old saying in Australian politics, always bet on the horse called self-interest because at least you know it's trying. And I think that's kind of what we're going to see here in these last few years. Andreas gets Greece, but he loses Bulgaria. He just can't get any traction on the board still. His position is, again, as has been observed a few times, just dreadful. It's just a mess. It's just everyone going for dots and no one doing anything to lean on Russia. That's the story of this turn.
This is
most of the game, really.
An absolutely devastating positional stab from Yelta on Sigurd. This is the sort of brilliant positional stab that can win you games that don't end in 1907. Yelta's a European player. So 1907 is Yelta's default, which makes this a little more surprising because, this stab on Sigurd, this is a 1910 game.
Lovely.
This is beautiful. Chef's kiss.
Absolutely.
You're in Channel, you're in Burgundy, you're in Piedmont, you've got Italy doing what you want, you've got England janissarying you into Channel. Wow. What's this going to get you in 2 years, though? But, if Italy isn't taking Marseille for themselves, Italy is just given up. So Italy is, at that point, throwing you the win. Okay, maybe they'll do that. certainly plausible. It's hardly crazy on a top board, but it's an awful lot of assumptions that that's what's going to fall. Other than Marseille, what's even vulnerable here? Like, Brest is coverable, Paris is coverable, Belgium could go to Picardy, but you're really relying on England not moving to North Sea if Belgium goes that way as well. You've still got a potentially hostile unit sat behind you. You've missed the opportunity to kill the English while doing this. Eddie's up in Norwegian, which maybe it's going to go to now, but then all the meanwhile, Russia can just drop to Baltic Sea or to Denmark, and you now have a 50-50 every single turn on which one of those Russia's going to move to. And Russia has all the time in the world to do that. They're building because Yalta's made a 0 stab and Russia has not. So Russia gets to build. They get to go and take centers for themselves. Like, yeah, this is the stab that wins you a long game. I don't think this is a stab that wins you a 1907 game. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it breaks Sigurd's position, but doesn't net Yalta any dots, which is the kind of the problem, right? It's still a grind, right? Like, Sigurd can still just defend and grind and make it hard and make it take time. And his 05 and an 07 game, there ain't no time.
Yeah, the 0 stabs that give you great position can be incredible stabs if they're going to get you 3-4 centers down the line, if the game's long enough for that to work. I just don't see that happening. Like 1906, you might get nothing again. Maybe you'll get Liverpool, but even that's not guaranteed. You might get probably 2 dots out of France by the end of this, all the while hoping that Russia doesn't A, take dots from you, B, take more dots in the East anyway. Like, Nicola can win in 2 different ways right now. He can successfully stab Yalta and win, or he can just take a bunch of dots in the East and not be catchable and win.
Yeah, I mean, those Turkish dots are just there whenever he wants them.
And he's got Austria as a janissary as well. Like, it's...
Yeah, he's
Bulgaria's
got Darcy in Budapest, yeah.
Yeah. But Darcy is helping in Budapest. He's helping Darcy in Vienna. He'll probably put Darcy into Trieste while backfilling Vienna. Like, he's got so many options for what he can do here.
Yeah, Yalta had a narrow path and was threading the eye of the needle, and Nicola's got an 8-lane motorway at the minute.
Yeah.
All right. Let's check out the sideline coverage.
Well, we have just got to the end of 1905, and this is going to be quite the pivotal turn. I've heard a lot of different things from a lot of different people. First of all, Darcy. Darcy is very interested in survival at this point. He's got some sort of deal with Russia where they're going to keep him alive. They're going to get him into Bulgaria. They're going to keep him alive in Vienna. However, there's also this long, complicated deal that sort of strings together the whole turn, at least from the negotiations that I've heard, which is that Maika's getting this coalition of anti-Russian people together. She's trying to get Darcy to support her into Budapest and Turkey to hit Romania and Germany to attack France so that all of these things can move. Because Turkey and Italy keep stressing that they have to work together. They're the ones who are behind in this position, so they absolutely have to work together to be able to get anything sorted. It even hit a point where, like, Maika felt a little bit like the RT working together, because in spring they didn't do the moves that they agreed. Neither of them did. Was just sort of helping Russia win, but they seem to have worked out those differences. And interestingly, Mike has also become a key player in the West, with both Germany and France seeming to want to work with her or at least prop her up.
Yeah, in the West as well, big upset now. Yalta has switched up on his ally the first turn that is possible, and is now attempting to take some of Robert's support in attacking his former ally. Obviously switching off pressure from Russia. Russian slow play, I guess, working out very well here for this turn. Same thing has been, I've heard the RT worry a lot about how is this going to end up with Mike? Is Mike going to become too big of a problem? Obviously now Russia stabbing Turkey, so I guess those plans won't matter much. And and we see Jelte just full committing against Sigurd, which is to Sigurd completely unexpected. He never told him. He also he did tell about his plans to many other players, but this seems to be completely unexpected for Sigurd because he's not supported Burgundy in any way. So we'll have to see if Sigurd, now with Italy coming in from the one hand and Jelte coming in for the other side, is going to be able to defend this.
Yeah. It should be a very interesting final 2 years for sure.
Okay.
Goodness me.
I mean, I'd be surprised if I was Sigurd.
Yeah.
I can see why he didn't expect this to happen, but I don't know.
God, I think I'd be ropeable in his position right now, to be honest with you. Like, that's, yeah.
I mean, you can question how much of this was Jelte seeing him leave Norwegian and going, "Oh, I can't take Scandinavian dots because you've pulled back."
Yeah, maybe.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I'd love to know if they discussed that or if it was a surprise to Jelte. It just
like-
it just feels like they can't, like, they can work and they can coordinate a little, but they just can't hit the cohesion you need in this sort of environment, you know, this level and at this pace. Both of those things, like, you can fix these things in a longer game, but in a short game, again, every move is just so pivotal.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we said at the start. Like 1907 game, mistakes are so costly, and we've seen it. We saw it from Robert. We've seen it from Darcy. We saw it from Jelte leaving Baltic. We've seen it from Sigurd leaving Norwegian. Micah building Fleet Rome. Do you know where we've not seen it from? Not seen it from Nicola.
Yep.
And
yeah, I mean, Andreas
now
not taking
look
a
at it.
build. Like, it's just everyone has got one mistake in them that was pivotal, and Nicola's just played just really tidy, solid diplomacy. Really, really good.
I mean, I really enjoyed the sideline saying that, like, Micah and Andreas were talking to each other, being like, yeah, we need to work together. It's the only way either of us can win is if we work together. And at the end of a year where they said that to each other throughout, they achieved no coordination at all. It's like...
Maybe Spring 06.
There's still
Nicola
time.
is dominating diplomatically and tactically.
All right. We'll just show the builds. There we go.
Darcy loves disbanding Army Vienna.
Woohoo! Another dot for Nicola.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, Nicola and Andreas build the only things they could really build. Makes sense.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, Fleet Anchor doesn't give you anything when you've already lost Black Sea,
Lost
so I
Black,
guess I
yeah.
might as well build an army.
Totally.
Alrighty. Very much at the pointy end now, getting into 06.
Very much.
Shane. show
Cool.
us-
I'll just go where my eye is again. I'm always talking about France and Sigurd, but that's just where we are. So he fends off the assault in Brest. He manages to, and there's no little dipsy doodle to prevent Marseille going as well. So that's nice. He can't cover everything though. Belgium goes to Picardy, which is, as I said, it's just grindy and it's slow, but it happens. His position is getting pretty loose now. Robert and Jelte can force Liverpool from this point on, but Sigurd can also retreat to Edinburgh, so I guess it's not the end of the world. Micah's just going full in on the west, trying to get dots, which makes sense as well. Over in the east, Nicola's doing the things that he needs to do. He's going to go into Armenia and try and lay up on Ankara. Take Serbia as well. Darcy gets pushed out of Bulgaria by the Turk, but gets a retreat to Romania. I mean, the east is just chaos. You've got the Micah doing the bounce, but not able to do anything in the east. There's just nothing to slow things down. And there's Baltic.
I
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
Berlin's
That's it.
guaranteed.
yeah.
Like I said, 50-50 for the rest of the game on whether you cover Baltic or Denmark. Lost it at the first guess. That is game, set, and match. Like,
Yeah.
It's not even that Munich's gone to Bohemia, which I guess to try and stop Russia taking Vienna. But the problem is that because you've left Norwegian Sea to make this stab on France, you can actually convoy straight into Berlin here. There's
Yeah.
nothing to stop that because Norway just goes to Sweden and covers it. There's no
Yeah.
threat on Norway.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Nicola has one. And
Yeah.
The good news for everyone else is Michael will get Spain.
Wonderful. Yeah, Munich to Bohemia is interesting. Like, you could have even at least gone to Silesia, because then you're around Berlin, like Warsaw, whatever.
Has
like, if
Yelta
Russia-
gone to Silesia once in this game?
If Russia gets into Vienna here and you're in Silesia, you're the one walking into a Russian dot. Did you walk into Warsaw?
Yeah.
Actually, I think there was a bounce in Silesia earlier when Munich went to Tyrolia, Berlin went to Silesia, and Warsaw
Oh,
did
okay.
as
Bounced
well.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Which was probably arranged.
Yeah.
Yeah. Out of
Smart play.
the 4 options of Prussia, Silesia, Bohemia, and Tyrolia, went for Tyrolia and bounced in Silesia. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just well played, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just this masterclass, really.
Like, it will take a
Like,
miracle to stop Nicola winning at this point.
Everyone's saying, well, that's from the sidelines, that they're all mad he's not doing anything. No one does anything to stop it, and he just keeps just gaining position and just moving and just accumulating, not being a threat. His best friend is Turkey, who's struggling, and he'll take the Turkish stuff when he needs to and just take the win. Yeah, and it's just made easier by Yelta trying to just shoot for the dots to try and catch up.
And
that's what
Darcy is
happens.
fully Janissary here, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
he's cut Greece to make sure Nicola takes Serbia. And the only way that Serbia doesn't fall in is if Italy does something about it from Trieste, which means Nicola gets Vienna. So, like, it's clever tactics down there, working between them to work out how optimally to do this. Like, the reason Aegean goes to Con is to hopefully stop Bulgaria falling, but it didn't work. But it doesn't really matter. Like, Nicola can give up Romania easily. Aegean is going to be there as a Janissary now to cut Con again, which means, hey, look, Ankara falls as well. So yeah,
and Darcy probably wants the survival, and so yeah, why aren't you doing a deal with Nicola here? Like, no one's done him any favors the entire game, as in Darcy. So why not?
Yeah. Like, the only way now to stop Nicola is if Darcy goes anti-Nicola and probably Robert goes anti-Nicola. You need these one center powers to throw their units at Russia, Germany to pull back, like France to let them do it. It just doesn't work.
It doesn't work, yeah. The relationships are gone now anyway. Even if this game runs longer, this is such a great position.
And
they
Venice
just
to
wouldn't coordinate.
Trieste. Yeah, like Venice to Trieste was a really bad move there as well. Like, you can't be expecting Trieste to actually get into Vienna there. So Venice should be going to Tyrolia. Even the ostensibly other still trying to win other players are not making the most efficient moves anywhere. The only person who is Russia.
All right, 4.
Well,
Michaelis?
is it me?
Michaelis,
It's me.
Yeah,
Right,
sorry.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, why take Berlin when you can take Denmark, I guess? Fair enough. I'm not sure I like that prioritization, actually. I think I'd rather be in Berlin with the convoy, but maybe Nicola didn't spot that. Elsewhere, he gets Ankara, because, as I said, Darcy cuts Con. He keeps Serbia, because Darcy cuts Bulgaria, so there can't be a support against it. Bohemia puts Micah into Vienna. Woohoo. Micah also gets Spain, and Yelta gets Paris and Marseille. So the GI managed to make all the correct guesses against Sigurd, which is not irrelevant. Like, maybe there's still some hope for them. Yelta, even though he's lost Denmark, will be getting a build, and will actually build 2 because of the rebuild from pulling Denmark. Of course, the fact that he's pulled Denmark means he's got 1 less fleet, so it's not that great, but not completely over in that regard. Can still try and race. The problem is that Micah's not going to be able to take many other dots, and one of them is Marseille, so you're going to lose that one to her if Micah goes for the win. And Nicola is building 3. No, building 2. He has lost Romania, so okay. It's 10, 8, 7 between the 3 of them, I think. Sigurd collapses. I mean, GG, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Sigurd's just dismembered, which was what was just going to happen. I think, that's right. I think the only, and there may be reasons for this, the only flaw in Nicola's game so far has not been that convoy, because if you've got your army in Belgium, you're taking a home dot and stopping Yelta throwing down a whole bunch more, throwing down 3 builds. But I mean,
in Berlin,
with this timed end, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, they have 1 year to try and take. Let's say Nicola is on 10. Yelta has to get to 10 whilst probably losing Marseille unless Micah is actually throwing to him.
Hmm.
Boy, where's your 10?
Yeah.
Brest, London. Okay. Nicola's going to take how many in the meantime? Quite a lot.
Right. Yeah, especially with Darcy still just running around in the back paddock, just helping him out.
Like Nicola doesn't even necessarily have to build in St. Pete here. Nicola can build Warsaw and Sevastopol quite easily.
Yeah, and I mean, it comes down to deserving as well, right? Does the West deserve to win this game from this position? And like from Darcy's perspective, I suspect the answer is no.
And like, if Yelta wants to do anything against Nicola by sending Edinburgh north, I see no reason why Cedric won't put Liverpool to Edinburgh for the rest of this game.
Yeah, no, that's right. It just looks to have completely broken down, and he has all the position.
Yeah,
definitely. May as well push it through.
Sideline.
With the sideline first.
Go back, quick!
Ah, well, that's all right.
We don't have to build, so it's fine.
Just the builds. All right, sideline.
All right, the ending of 06. Very interesting. This turn has definitely been marked as the beginning of the end of the game. A lot of kind of struggles for trying to get a good position in the end. A lot of stabs between people. Interestingly enough, here Micah is choosing to help Yelta, and Sigurd is choosing to keep his promises to Mike about not defending Spain. There have been a lot of kind of these sorts of deals of like, okay, you get this little piece because I don't want this person to board top on 8 or on 9 or something, and kind of little shuffles to make sure that, the end state of the board is a bit more, a bit more acceptable to many people. I saw a very long discussion between Mike and the Yelta specifically over basically working together to see, okay, can Micah still win? She's really trying, but it's looking like this is very much in the West, at least. Yelta's making a lot of progress, though he has Russia in his back. Also, Robert staying on the board for a turn for more, possibly to the end. I'm not sure. Have anything interesting happened in the East, Isaac?
Well, we had a couple of different things. We had the big thing was Darcy. Darcy's become this key power in the East too. They both sides feel like they desperately need to make any progress, and Russia seems to have won that diplomatic fight. Darcy's speaking with them constantly at every turn and doing the moves they want because he thinks that's his best shot at guaranteeing survival. There was also a very interesting conversation between the RG where Yelta and Nicola basically had a conversation with each other. It was only like about a minute or so, but it said, yeah, we don't need to fight each other. We're just going to race. You've got a decent shot. I've got a decent shot. Let's not fight. Let's send our units elsewhere. And then Sigurd moved to Sweden and the Baltic Sea. So it'll be very interesting to see how the reaction of that comes from Yelta, whether he sort of turns around how much he focuses on this betrayal and how much he pushes into France because of it, whether it changes any of his moves around Robert, because he might feel like he needs the dogs more. And then France, you already talked about the France-Italy deal. I think that was the crux of the turns, basically, is just this positioning with Russia, Italy, and Germany all making an attempt to try and see who's going to emerge victorious.
Yeah, I think also really interesting this turn has been that Yelta and Micah, but more interestingly, Yelta has been talking a lot to Andreas as well in the corner with Turkey, because he's obviously helping slow Russia down, trying to get that board top any way he can, and really getting it. Also been interesting is that Robert has been fairly alone for most of this. He's really managing to survive all on his own, which is kind of impressive.
Yeah.
Seeing him,
Similarly, Nicola spoke to Robert. He spoke to Seagard. It's very important as you're one of these, if you're one of these big powers, to try and make sure you're doing that cross-board management where you're speaking to the powers on the other side for you trying to fight against. And we see that here from both sides. So good work.
Definitely.
I mean, if it's a race, it's a 100-meter sprint with Nicola getting about a 50-meter head start at this point in time, isn't it? Like, and I mean, the Baltic move and with the Yelta, I mean, what's Yelta going to do about it? Like, what can Yelta do about it?
Yeah, it's interesting there that they called out Yelta going and talking to Andreas. And I agree, like speaking to the other powers on the board, the smaller powers is important. I would probably say that if it's notable they're doing that in 06, then maybe 3 years ago is when you probably should have started doing that. So it's a little bit too little too late there. But yeah, we should give a shout out as well to Isaac and to Emily for sidelining this game. Thank you very much. Emily, I believe, speaks German and Dutch and was translating sidelines for us as well there, because there's obviously a lot of non-native English speakers on this board. So an extra shout out for the work Emily did on that. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, having sideline coverage is really priceless because this game is not really all on the board. So
it's how you verify all of Michaelis's insights tactically.
Yeah. This was all just set up so we know that Michaelis isn't talking crap. All right.
This is why I love sideliners.
Cool. All right. Builds. We'll just show them.
Yeah, chuck them down.
There we go.
Yeah, Sigurd wants to make Yelta's life. Oh, okay.
You're welcome.
I mean, yeah.
It's yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I said
that's
before,
fine.
Nicola didn't need
Yeah.
to build in St. Petersburg, right? Yeah.
Look, I was going to say this at this position, it looked like, you know, it was only going to be a matter of who finished the second at this point. So yeah, I mean, the draw makes sense, right?
Yeah.
You've got 1 year left. How many centers did Nicola have in pocket? Well, you've got Rum. You've probably got Con or Bull. There's potentially Vienna's. Berlin can go to, because Warsaw can go to Prussia to cut, or to go for Kiel. There's just so many centers that are available. Edinburgh can't come north because Liverpool goes to Edinburgh. Like, Nicola had this game in the bag.
Yeah, you can't take anything from him. Yeah, you can't take anything from him. Like, it's a clear win. Like, everyone survives as well, which preserves the vibes, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this was an absolutely dominant performance from Nicola diplomatically. He didn't put a foot wrong in the entire game. Let everybody else's relationships with each other break down and reaped all the rewards. Like, brilliant. This is the level of player Nicola was, and he took some time off, and it doesn't look like he's got much rust, that's for sure.
Still is, yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
This is just, as I said, I kind of said it before, it's almost a little bit of a masterclass, right? There's patience, there's just working the position. He doesn't upset anybody. Like, they all see he's a big threat on the board, but he's clearly not upset anybody diplomatically. He stabs Turkey at exactly the right time. Like, it's just really, really well played.
Yeah. Nicola is he's a scary player to play against. He's going to be a big threat in the DPNI, which he qualified for off the back of this top board victory. And if Nicola's back and in top form, as it looks like he is here, then everyone should beware. I remember a few years ago when I was at DixieCon, someone talked to me and we have the discussion that diplomacy players do, like who are the best players in the world. And I think I put Nicola Taillet as, at the time, one of the best players in the world, if not the best. And he took some time off. He's come back and he's just winning, picked up right where he left off. So, yeah, great to see him back. Hope I'm not on a board with him, though.
For sure.
Yeah, that would definitely suck. Sorry, you go.
I was just to say, for everyone else, like, there was some great, well-played games from a lot of people. Yelta made a great stab on France, got probably the maximum he could out of it. It was just unfortunate timing. Like, everyone sort of made one key mistake except Nicola, and that one key mistake was costing for all of them. And Nicola was the one who picked up the pieces of it all.
I mean, Yelta gets second here, right? Like maybe that becomes the objective, because it does seem to shake out pretty clearly that Nicola is going to win like a year or two out. And so, I mean, Yelta takes that stab on Sigurd and manages to nick second place, which is the best he could hope for. And I mean, the point is you maximize your position, right? So, we can sit here and say, oh, it's a stab that's going to guarantee the game to Nicola. But at the same time, if Yelta's already made the calculation that Nicola has it, why don't you take second? Like,
this is true. Although playing for second on the top board is not always
but if it's already gone,
people enjoy.
If it's already gone, what else can you do?
But the more people that think it's already gone is how it ends up being already gone. Like there were definitely plenty of opportunities in this game, probably up until now, where Nicola could have been stopped. At this point, it is over. But I think as late as 05, there's plausible ways to turn that around, and nobody could get on the same page. Which probably a lot of that was Nicola's doing. Like there's no doubt he was spreading it diplomatically to. Yeah, Yelta, you should stab Sigurd. Like Sigurd's called back. You're not getting for me. Look, there's dots.
You
there.
get X, Y, Z. Yeah, that's the thing.
Micah's built Fleet Rome. She's coming to attack you. You need to send everything south. Like all of these little things.
That's the thing. I think the East was so dysfunctional that the West needed to be more cohesive to balance that out. And when Sigurd comes out of Norwegian, that pressure on Nicola is just gone. I think that's probably one of the key inflection points of the game. I think France and Germany maybe should have tried to read that better and gone, this is the only choice we have. I think if Yelta's race is with Sigurd versus Nicola at the end there, maybe that's a race Yelta wins.
Yeah. And yes, I think Yelta made the wrong decision to stab Sigurd, but I also think Sigurd, like you say, he pulled out a Norwegian. He also didn't leave Bergen. He didn't leave Yelta the space that Yelta needed to make a real commitment against Nicola. And so, it's not 100% blame. There's mistakes by both. There's mistakes by people in the East, and Nicola played it perfectly.
Yeah, it's if the relationships don't work, then these are the sorts of things that happen, and it's just diplomacy, and everyone will reset and play again, and it'll be different. That's the great thing about it.
Yep, learning experience for everyone else, and fun time was hopefully had.
Absolutely, it was a really entertaining game. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure. There was definitely moves there that were surprising as well and entertaining to see, which was good. And sort of like you were saying earlier, Michalis, with some of the mistakes that made. I think a lot of those mistakes were definitely just the format of the game. Decisions that were made may not have been a problem if the game was going longer than 07, but tapping the brakes ever so slightly when no one else is doing that can really cost you, being that one or two moves behind.
Yeah, 07 games are just so punishing on errors. Like you need to play, especially at the highest level, like a top board. You need to play so perfectly because somebody else will if you don't. That's
it. But Nicholas played a amazing game. Definitely a masterclass, like you guys were saying. There's more in pocket here. He's not at risk of losing anything. It's just a really solid position.
Yeah, I mean, he's with the potential discord here. If this game keeps running, like he's potentially getting a solo here. I think if they can't get it together, you need the coordination between Yelta and Micah probably stops it, but. I mean, the position isn't great for Yelta up north either. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, in an untimed game,
I always want games to go longer.
Yeah, the solo would be there. I mean, it is obviously, everyone knows it's an 07 game, so it's kind of a beside the point thing. But
yeah, totally.
There's one more year that they could have played, and that one more year would have just seen Nicola stretch his lead even further, right?
Oh, yeah, I mean, his builds are very different here if the game runs beyond 07. It's chucking down a fleet up the top. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, again, huge congrats to Nicholas and Yelta for coming second and Micah for third. Everyone did really well on this board, and a big shout out as well to Darcy and Robert, being in pretty tough positions out of the gate, but hanging in there, still talking and making deals, and being able to hang in there till the end on one center, seeing where they could get that survival. It's a tough fight, but not giving up, and yeah, just trying to hang in there till the end is really respectable as well. It's good play. Yeah, so that pretty much concludes our coverage of 7 Years War. I am not sure if they have kicked off again for 2026. Michaelis, the league?
I think they did actually play last weekend. Yeah. If you want to sign up, then either contact Yelta, Robert, Christophe Bourgeat, one of the many people who help organize this league. There's basically someone for every language. You can do that for the VWDC Discord server, which I've put up in the top there for you, or contacting them directly on Discord. They say they had over 100 players last season, and really an incredible amount of work that goes into making sure there are games for every language. I don't doubt that by the end of a couple more years, we'll have had like 40 different language games in this league if Yelta is allowed to do what he wants. So I for one look forward to the Basque versions, and we'll have pretty much everything. Every little Europeans will show up and play a game. It's great for the hobby and a lot of fun. You should do it. It takes like 4 or 5 hours of your day being an 07 game, and yeah, sign up. You don't have to commit to the whole league. You can just play as a one-off. So come try us out.
And they give out I think they give out awards for each language group too, which is kind of cool. So you can have someone who's been the best Polish language player of the year and stuff like that, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really good. For everyone still watching this video, please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. We have a lot more interesting content coming up over the coming weeks. And there's a lot of events that people can get in on. We look forward to seeing how DBNI turns out. 28 players just going at it for the title. Yeah, obviously we have our face-to-face and virtual events as well. Hopefully we will see some of you there. I think that's it. I don't think we need to cover anything else. Good, beautiful. Michaelis, since you're not hosting, would you like to sign us off?
In the words of Siobhan Nolan, stay safe and stab well.
Thank you.